Let me ask you something right now. Have you ever looked in the mirror after walking away from someone toxic and thought, "Did I just win?" Yes, you did, but here's the kicker. The moment you win, the narcissist doesn't walk away quietly. Oh no, my friend, that's when the real show begins. Because your power, your healing, your growth, it threatens them more than anything in this world. Today, I want to talk to the warrior in you, the healer in you, the rising giant in you. Because when you win against a narcissist, you've done what many can't. You've broken their illusion, and now it's time to watch what happens next. Not with fear, but with certainty, with clarity, and with strength. When you rise from the ashes, they panic. When you go no contact, they scramble. When you stop defending, explaining, or justifying yourself, they lose their grip. Let me walk you through the phases you'll see after your victory, so you never mistake their reaction for your responsibility again. 1. The hoovering trap. Oh, they'll try to suck you back in. Sweet words, sudden apologies, promises of change, but it's not love. It's control dressed up as redemption. You see, narcissists don't miss you. They miss their power over you. So when they circle back, don't be flattered. Be aware. This is your test. This is your moment to say, "I'm not who I was. I've evolved. I've grown." 2. The smear campaign. They'll tell anyone who listens that you're the problem. Why? Because you shattered their mask. You exposed what they've hidden, and that, my friend, terrifies them. They'll rewrite history. They'll flip the script. But let me tell you something. You don't have to defend yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. Let your peace be your proof. Let your progress be your testimony. 3. The silent rage. When they realize you're truly gone emotionally, spiritually, mentally, that's when the mask completely falls off. They may ghost you, or worse, try to replace you quickly, hoping you'll feel jealous or small. But let me be clear. When they go silent, it's not peace. It's punishment. It's their final weapon. And the best way to win is to stay in your silence too. Because now, your silence is power. 4. The fake evolution. Suddenly they change. They read books. They go to therapy. They find God. But don't confuse image maintenance with inner growth. True change doesn't come from being caught or abandoned. It comes from accountability and humility. Don't mistake a costume for character. Watch from a distance. Wish them healing, but never re-enter the arena you've already escaped. 5. Your freedom is their mirror. Here's the beautiful twist. The more you glow up, the more uncomfortable they become. Why? Because your evolution reminds them of their stagnation. Your peace is louder than their chaos. Your healing reveals their dysfunction, and no narcissist can stand a mirror that shows their true face. So keep rising, keep glowing. You are now the light they can no longer dim. 6. The final realization. It was never about them. The biggest victory isn't that you walked away. The real win is who you became in the process. Stronger, wiser, clearer. You stopped making their potential your project. You stopped shrinking to fit their comfort. You stopped explaining yourself to someone committed to misunderstanding you. That is power. That is healing. That is freedom. So if you've won against the narcissist, don't look back. Watch what they do, but don't react. Observe, don't absorb. Smile, don't engage. Let them perform. Let them unravel. You are no longer the audience to their drama. You've walked off their stage and stepped into your own story. Remember, they lost you, you found you, and that is the greatest victory of all. Let's go, champion. Your next chapter starts now. Keep rising. When a narcissist realizes they've lost control over you, their first instinct is to reestablish that grip. This is where the hoovering phase begins. Named after the vacuum cleaner brand, hoovering is the narcissist's manipulative tactic to suck you back into the toxic dynamic. They may reach out with sudden affection, apologies, or emotional vulnerability, sometimes even appearing genuinely remorseful. But this isn't love, it's not growth, it's not change. It's a calculated move to pull you back under their influence. The narcissist will say things like, "I've been thinking about us," or "I miss you." No one understands me like you do. They might suddenly remember all the good memories, the trips, the late night conversations. It's a performance. They know your empathy is your strength, and now they're trying to use it against you. Their words may seem heartfelt, but their intention is not reconciliation. It's domination. This tactic is especially dangerous because it preys on your emotional progress. Just when you've begun to heal, to see things clearly, they slide in with the version of themselves you hoped they'd be all along. The charm returns, the masks are polished, the old behaviors are swept under the rug as if they never happened. They try to re-trigger your attachment, to awaken the part of you that wanted so badly to believe they could change. But the moment you engage, the moment you respond, they know they still have a foothold. And once they regain that emotional access, the cycle starts all over again. Idealize, devalue, discard. This is not a new chapter. It's a rerun of the same painful story, just in different packaging. That's why understanding the hoovering phase is so crucial. It isn't about the narcissist missing you. It's about them missing the feeling of control. They don't reflect on what they lost. They obsess over losing their power. They don't feel heartbreak the way you do. They feel ego injury, and your silence, your boundary, your glow-up. That's their deepest wound, not because they love you, but because they can't use you anymore. The key to protecting your freedom is seeing hoovering for what it is, emotional bait, and when you stop biting, you start winning. When a narcissist realizes they can no longer control you, one of their go-to strategies is launching a smear campaign. This is not just an act of immaturity. It's a calculated attempt to rewrite the narrative and damage your credibility. Their image is everything to them, and when you walk away, especially on your terms, they feel exposed. So, they move quickly to paint you as the villain, the unstable one, the manipulator. Why? Because they're terrified people might actually see the truth about who they really are. They will twist facts, omit context, and exaggerate your flaws to anyone who will listen. Friends, family, co-workers, even strangers on social media. Their goal is simple: destroy your reputation before you can speak your truth. This way, they control the story even in your absence. It's a desperate attempt to stay in power by controlling the perception others have of you. What's worse, they often play the victim to perfection. They'll cry, act broken, talk about how hard they tried, and how toxic you were. They'll use your vulnerabilities as weapons, the things you confided in them. Your pain, your past, your weaknesses suddenly become part of their narrative, twisted to make you look unstable or cruel. It's psychological warfare, and it cuts deep because it often involves mutual connections. This phase is one of the most painful, especially for empaths. You may feel an urge to defend yourself, to correct the lies, to prove you're not who they say you are. But engaging in that battle often gives them exactly what they want: your energy, your reaction, your emotional investment. The smear campaign is not just about what they say. It's about pulling you back into their chaos. The reality is this: people who truly know you will not believe lies, and those who do believe the narcissist without questioning, never truly valued you to begin with. Your silence, your peace, and your consistent integrity will speak louder over time than any manipulative story they try to spread. Narcissists count on you breaking, lashing out, or retaliating because it helps prove their narrative. But when you rise above, when you live in truth, you strip them of their favorite weapon, control of the storyline. The silent treatment is one of the narcissist's most calculated and cruel weapons. At first glance, it may seem like they've finally left you alone or moved on. But silence from a narcissist isn't peace, it's punishment. It's a tactic designed to make you feel invisible, irrelevant, and uncertain. This isn't the quiet of maturity or reflection. It's the storm before their next attempt to manipulate. Their silence is full of noise. It screams for attention, control, and power. When they stop calling, texting, or acknowledging your presence, it's not because they've healed or changed. It's because they want you to react. The silence is engineered to provoke panic in you. You start questioning what you did wrong, why they've disappeared, and what you could do to fix it. That inner turmoil, that's the goal. The narcissist wants you to sit in discomfort, to chase after them, to apologize for boundaries you were right to create. They use silence to create a sense of scarcity, making you feel like their affection, time, and attention are rare commodities that you must earn back. This illusion puts you back in the position of the pleaser, the fixer, the one constantly walking on eggshells. It's emotional starvation, and they know exactly how long to withhold before they reappear with a breadcrumb of connection, just enough to keep you hooked. What makes this tactic even more destructive is that it can look like growth to outsiders. People might say, maybe they're just giving you space, or maybe they're respecting your wishes. But the narcissist's silence isn't respectful. It's punitive. It's a way to dominate without words, to assert power without confrontation. They want you to feel the absence like a wound and blame yourself for it. This behavior is a reflection of their emotional immaturity. Instead of communicating like adults, they retreat into silence to maintain control. It's a game of psychological chess, and they're always trying to stay one move ahead. But once you recognize it, you take the power back. You no longer chase, question, or blame yourself. You begin to see that their silence says more about them than it ever could about you. You stop reacting, and in doing so, you break the cycle they depend on to feed their ego. When a narcissist realizes they've lost access to you, they often make a sudden show of transformation. They start talking about healing, growth, self-awareness, or even therapy. They might share inspirational quotes, attend spiritual retreats, or post publicly about learning from the past. To the untrained eye, this looks like progress. But in reality, it's often a performance, image management disguised as evolution. This fake growth isn't about real inner change. It's about maintaining control over how they're perceived. You see, narcissists are masters of imitation. They observe what genuine change looks like, and then mimic it when they feel their power slipping. If they think presenting themselves as healed or changed will pull you back in, or protect their reputation, they will put on the act. They might say all the right things, use therapy language, admit partial faults, or even acknowledge how they hurt you. But notice one key thing. Their words rarely translate into sustained, consistent action. True growth is uncomfortable. It requires humility, self-reflection, and accountability, qualities narcissists avoid because they shatter the illusion of superiority. Narcissists don't grow because they want to evolve. They pretend to grow because they want to manipulate. The shift in behavior is not rooted in self-awareness, but in strategy. If they see you thriving, at peace, and moving forward, their ego takes a hit. The new and improved version of them is often just a response to your strength, not a commitment to their own healing. This fake evolution can be incredibly confusing, especially for empaths. You want to believe people can change, you want to hold space for redemption, and the narcissist knows this. That's why they time their transformation carefully, right when you're finding your balance or after you've set boundaries they once mocked. Their performance is designed to trigger your compassion and make you question your decision to walk away. But don't mistake presentation for progress. Anyone can say they've changed. Real change shows up in consistency, humility, and a genuine shift in behavior over time. A narcissist in costume is still a narcissist. The shiny exterior might fool others, but if you look closely, the core remains unchanged. It's not about what they show the world, it's about what they do when no one's watching, especially when control is no longer an option. When you start to truly heal and reclaim your power, it becomes a mirror the narcissist cannot stand to look into. Your growth highlights everything they've refused to face within themselves. Your peace becomes deafening in the silence of their own chaos. Your rising threatens the very illusion they've worked so hard to maintain. That's why your freedom, your evolution, your glow-up, it doesn't go unnoticed. It becomes their greatest discomfort because it reveals the contrast between where you are and where they are still stuck. Narcissists live in a world carefully constructed on control, manipulation, and image. They build narratives that place them at the center, the hero, the victim, or sometimes both. But when you walk away and actually thrive, when you no longer respond, when you begin to radiate confidence, when you're no longer fueled by their approval, it shatters their illusion of dominance. You're not just a person who left, you become living proof that they were never the source of your strength. This drives them into a spiral. On the surface, they may pretend not to care. They might flaunt new relationships, post idealized versions of their life online, or act indifferent to your success. But behind the scenes, your glow burns their ego. They don't want you healed. They want you broken, confused, doubting yourself. Because that version of you was easier to manipulate. The healthier you become, the less influence they have. That loss of control is something they can't tolerate. Your progress becomes their trigger, not because you did anything wrong, but because you did everything right. You invested in yourself. You broke the cycle. You reclaimed your voice, your boundaries, your identity. And now, without even trying, you force them to confront what they've been running from, themselves. That's the unspoken power of healing. It doesn't just free you. It exposes those who tried to keep you small. So when you see them try to minimize your growth, mock your peace, or undermine your success, understand that it's not about you. It's about what your transformation reveals about them. They're no longer in control of your emotions. They are no longer the center of your life. You are now a mirror, and in that reflection, they can no longer hide from what they've become. The most profound victory you experience after walking away from a narcissist isn't in what they lose, it's in what you gain. For so long, your energy was consumed trying to fix, explain, defend, or earn love that was never truly given. You bent, shrunk, and doubted yourself in the name of preserving a relationship built on false intimacy and real control. But when you finally broke free, something powerful began to awaken, your worth, and once you see your value, you can't unsee it. Realizing the truth of who you are beyond their manipulation is the ultimate breakthrough. You begin to notice how much lighter life feels without constant tension. You start to enjoy your own company again. You rediscover your voice, the one that had been silenced, ridiculed, or dismissed. And this time, you're no longer apologizing for it. That sense of self isn't just healing. It's liberation. You step into spaces with confidence, not because someone else validated you, but because you finally remembered who you were before the distortion. You stop seeking closure from them because you realize the real closure was found in reclaiming your peace. You no longer feel the urge to prove your side of the story. The need to explain fades because you trust your own experience now. You understand that someone else's inability to love you properly was never a reflection of your worth. It was a reflection of their wounds, their emptiness, and their choice to project it onto you. With that awareness comes emotional clarity. You become less reactive. Your boundaries become stronger, not from fear, but from wisdom. You don't tolerate inconsistency, gaslighting, or emotional manipulation anymore. Not because you're angry, but because you're aligned. That internal alignment becomes your new compass. You're no longer controlled by external chaos. You've found your center, and perhaps the greatest shift is how you begin to treat yourself. The self-doubt turns into self-trust. The guilt turns into grace. You speak to yourself with compassion, not criticism. You stop betraying yourself to keep others comfortable. And in doing so, you begin to attract people and environments that honor the version of you that was hidden beneath all the pain. This is what true victory looks like. Not revenge, not proving them wrong, but rising so far above their reach that their opinion no longer defines your reality.